at least watch the recording so that they know what we're up to. But we are going to start a new little unit on folklore. Folklore is a general word that covers all of these different types of stories that you see listed below. So folklore includes folk tales, it includes myths, it includes fairy tales, fables, and tall tales. Those are all part of folklore. And so you have a little bit less work in your regular Lincoln curriculum to kind of make up for some of the work that you're going to be doing for this unit. And some of your assignments are going to be a group assignment, and then the last two assignments are going to be individual projects. So you can see here over on the left, that's what I was talking about. We have 3 different assignments. This first one that I'm going to show you today is a group project. So first things first, though, I want to kind of go through what these different types of stories are because you're going to be exposed to all of the different types. So the first one is a folk tale. A folk tale is really an oral tradition, and that means people, before they could read or write, they would just tell stories, and then they would kind of remember the story, and then somebody else would tell the story. And, you know, they kind of changed because they were never written down usually. But they kind of explain why things are the way they are in our world. So back, you know, in the old days, people might not have understood maybe why the sky is blue. Let's just use that as an example. So they would make up a story about to explain why the sky would be blue. Maybe in the old days, people didn't understand why birds would fly south for the winter. Those are things that they didn't have the science or technology to really understand back then, and so they would make up a story about it. And that's just kind of the folk tale. Folk tales, they don't really teach a lesson or anything. They just explain why something is the way it is. And we'll look at some examples. A myth or a legend. A myth always has some kind of hero in it. So it has like a supernatural person or a hero, something that actually couldn't happen in real life. Like they do things that um, you know, like a supernatural person would be able to do. And they explain, it's kind of like a folk tale. They explain aspects of the natural world and show things and ideals in society. So it kind of shows why things are the way they are, but there's some kind of hero in the story. Hi, Jordan. I'm glad you joined us. I'm just going through the different types of folklore that we're going to be studying. A fairy tale, you guys are probably most familiar with fairy tales. Um, those are, you know, made up stories that include things like goblins or fairies or mermaids or gnomes, some kind of magical element. So, you know, fairy tale, something like Cinderella. Jacob really liked it when we created that that movie with Cinderella pictures. A fairy tale. You guys, I think of Walt Disney. I mean, he does a lot of, you know, fairy tale type stories. A fable. Let's see. A fable is a fictional story that has animals or creatures or some kind of inanimate object or like a plant, but it gives it a human quality. So in a fable, the animals or plants, whatever it is, can talk. They have verbal communication like a human being. And so obviously it's fictional. The difference between a fable and the rest of these is it does teach some kind of lesson. Okay, so there's something to be learned from a fable. A tall tale is something also unbelievable, but we tell it like it is true and factual. Basically, it has a big exaggeration. So I think of like Paul Bunyan, for instance, as a tall tale. But like I promised, we are going to go through different examples, and each of you have been assigned a different group. So let's just, I'm not going to spend too much time because all of you, this is going to be your job, is to present these different um, folklore stories. But let's just look at Briar Rabbit first. And so the group that is in Briar Rabbit is going to be dealing with a folktale. The group that is assigned to Johnny Appleseed is a legend. The group of students who have Paul Bunyan are dealing with a tall tale. The group of students who have the story Bear Prince are looking at a fairy tale. And then the rooster and the pearl is a fable. So you're probably asking yourself, which group am I in? Well, if you go down here where it says group assignments, you're going to see which group you've been assigned to. All of this is in your email as well. I have shared this site with you. I have shared your group assignment with you, and I have shared part of assignment number 1 with you, which we haven't gotten to yet, but we're about to. And welcome, Lucas. I'm glad you can join us today.
Yes,
So
thank
let's
you.
just take a look at which folklore story you have been assigned to. So let's see. We have Jordan here with us today. Jordan, you are in the group, The Rooster and the Pearl. Jacob, you are in the Johnny Appleseed group. And Lucas, where are you? Oh, Lucas, wow, there you are. You're in the Johnny Appleseed group as well. So that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. And then
Mm.
everybody else, as they get this assignment, are just going to have to find their own name and find which group they've been assigned to. So, so far, before I start getting into what we're going to do for assignment number 1, are there any questions so far?
Mm.
Nope. Okay. So far, for those of you who just came in a couple minutes late, all that we've done so far is just kind of go over the different types of folklore stories. Here are the different types on that very first homepage, okay? I also linked some essential questions that I want you to kind of think about in the back of your mind as you are doing these assignments. But let's go ahead and jump to assignment number 1 so that we know what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to go through the assignment with you, and then I'm going to actually model it with a different story altogether. All right, assignment number 1 is going to be due next Monday at the same time during your virtual classroom. And assignment number 1, as I mentioned earlier, is a group assignment. Okay, so first thing you're going to do, step 1. You're going to read the folk tale, the fable, legend, tall tale, or fairy tale that has been assigned to you. So, like I said, Johnny Appleseed was Lucas and Jacob, and Jordan, you had the rooster and the pearl. So that's pretty easy. Step 2. Step 2 is to complete the sequence chart as a group. This is a shared document that I have shared with your group. Okay? So in your email, you have something that looks like this. So as a group, you are going to, whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to scroll down there. As a group, you're going to list the events in order and then write a group summary. So we're going to do this together in just a minute as a practice. But that's basically step 2, the sequence chart. All right, step 3. Step 3 is the fun part. You're going to make a visual representation of the story. There's going to be one Wordle. I'm going to show you what Wordle is. Then you can find a collage of images, or you can even draw a picture and add it onto the bottom of your sequence chart. Okay? All right, so are there any questions so far? Okay. All right, not so far. Okay, so far we have just gone through assignment number 1 and what you're going to be doing, but I'm going to show you my examples. So we have Pecos Bill. So, as you probably remember, nobody has been assigned to Pecos Bill. This is just my example. All right, so we're going to read this tall tale together. Do I have a volunteer to read this short first paragraph for me? Anyone? Okay. Jacob can't see it. It's a little blurry, I guess. Huh. All right. Well, I will read the first paragraph here, and then maybe I can get somebody to help me with the second one and so forth, so that we don't have to listen to my voice the entire time. All right. Here we go. Pecos Bill. Now everyone in the West knows that Pecos Bill could ride anything. No bronco could throw him. No, sir. Fact is, I only heard of Bill getting throwed once in his whole career as a cowboy. Yep, it was that time he was up in Kansas way, and decided to ride him a tornado. What did you notice about this language already in a tall tale?
It's Western.
Yeah, it's kind of Western, and this isn't using really proper English, but it's kind of the way that they used to speak in the Old West. And
In the
so,
South or West South.
go ahead, Lucas.
Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Well, no, you were right with what you said. It's kind of Western. It's the way that they used to speak in the Old West,
Yeah.
and we don't usually use that kind of language anymore. Um, but you're going to find that in tall tales and fables and myths and legends and folk tales. That a lot of times they're not using proper English. They're using the wording from the time period in which it was written.
Uh huh.
Okay, so Jordan, would you like to read paragraph 2 for us?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Okay. Now Bill wasn't gonna ride just any tornado. No, ma'am. He waited for the biggest golden, I
Uh-huh.
think. Okay. Tornado you ever saw. It was turning the sky black and green and roaring so loud it woke up the farmers away over in China. Well, Bill just grabbed that there tornado, pushed it to the ground, and jumped on its back. The tornado whipped and whirled and side-winded and generally cussed its bad luck all the way down to Texas. Tied the rivers into knots, flattened all the forests so bad they had to rename one place the Staked Plains. But Bill just rode along all calm, like give it an occasional jab with his spurs.
Okay. So in this paragraph, there again, we have that old Western type of language. Um, and did you notice that they are explaining something? They're explaining how this particular place got named the Staked Plains down in Texas. So obviously, this is not the real reason that they call this the Staked Plains, but it's a made up story that it makes it a little bit more fun to read about. Um, and I also noticed, what was I going to say? Oh, exaggeration. That was what the tall tale. Yes, extreme exaggeration, okay? Because all the way over in China, I doubt they could actually hear it over in China. Um, and then, of course, riding a tornado, that's obviously an exaggeration as well. All right, Lucas, how about you read this short little third paragraph for us? Oh, Lucas is offline. I wonder what happened. I guess that leaves me. All right. Finally, that tornado decided it wasn't getting this cowboy off its back no how. So it headed west to California and just rained itself out. Made so much water it washed out the Grand Canyon. That tornado was down to practically nothing when Bill finally fell off. He hit the ground so hard it sank below sea level. Folks call that spot the Death Valley. Anyway, that's how rodeo got started. though most cowboys stick to Broncos these days. Okay, so there again, what did you notice that they explained in paragraph 3?
I'm just gonna get out of it and back.
Well, yeah, and they explained something kind of silly, like how the Grand Canyon was made. That's obviously not how the Grand Canyon was made, but it's a fun story. And they also explained why we call that part of California Death Valley. Um, these are not the real reasons, but it's kind of, fun to imagine. And then this tall tale also explains how the rodeo got started. Okay. So made up stories, they're fun. Tall tales are definitely exaggerations. Okay, so if I go back to my assignment number 1, we just did step 1 together. We read it. So moving on to step 2, we're going to complete the sequence chart together. So you're going to see my pictures. All right, here is my Pecos sequence chart. I have to kind of click on it, and sorry, it'll take me just a second to redirect to the actual sequence chart that I want to fill out. Okay, we're getting there. Don't worry. In all of my stuff, here it is. Where's my sequence chart? Ah. There it is. Pecos Bill. Okay. Here we go. All right, guys. So somebody help me. What was the first thing that happened in this tall tale? And I could go back to it so that we can reread it. So you could type it into the chat, or you could just say it out loud because all of your microphones are on. So what was the first thing that happened?
He talked about how he was such a good rider of horses and any other kind of thing he can ride. He can ride
That's
almost anything.
right. Okay. Very good. The best cowboy in the world and can ride anything. Perfect. That's easy. Easy breezy. Okay, let's go to maybe the second. And actually, no, I didn't draw that picture. I found it, but I'm pretending that I drew it. Okay, maybe the second thing that happened in the tall tale. Looks like, what was he doing here waiting for this tornado? He was going to wait for the biggest tornado ever, right? So
Yep.
next, waited for the biggest tornado there ever was to ride. Okay, so now let's go back. Is there anything else that's important in paragraph number 2?
He rode the tornado.
That's right. He rode the tornado, so he jumped on it. Okay. Tornado, and let's see if there's anything else I can add to that. So he jumped on the tornado, and it looks like he rode it all the way to Texas. All the way to Texas, and made a place called the Staked Plains, right?
Yep, and that was heard in China.
Yeah. And see, that little exaggeration about they could hear it all the way over in China, I'm going to leave that part out because it's not maybe, the most important thing. It's just an exaggeration.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the third paragraph, what happened in the third paragraph? It wasn't going to get that cowboy off its back, and so where did the tornado head to?
California.
That's right. Very good.
And into the Grand Canyon.
Yep, and on its way, it formed the Grand Canyon. That's right. Okay. Pecos bill could not be thrown, so the tornado headed to California. Okay. It carved the Grand Canyon, and I'll just skip ahead. It also made a place called Death Valley. Perfect. Okay, and then last, what happened last? It kind of just wrapped up, and that's how the rodeo got
Rodeo
started.
started.
That's right. That's how the rodeo got started. Okay, so that's how I'm going to end my sequence chart. This, I should just say, this tall tale started the rodeo, but most cowboys stick to Broncos these days. Perfect. Okay, so what did we just do, guys? We just filled out our sequence chart. So we just did step number 2 of our assignment. Was that pretty easy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sort of,
it
yeah.
was it was not hard at all. And you know what makes it even easier is this is a group assignment. So you guys can all add to it. And so it's gonna, yeah, I know, it's gonna help each other out when you see, maybe if Jordan comes in here and she's like, oh yeah, but Jacob forgot to say this, and she adds just a little bit more.
So do you have to send it to everybody else, or do you
Um,
just add to it?
I actually have already sent it to you. It's already in your emails. So your group members, you already are on the same document. You already have it. So you don't have to
Oh,
send it to anyone. All you have to do is look for it in your email.
oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And then the third step, like I said, is the fun part. You're going to create at least one Wordle, and I'll take you to Wordle. And then you can find images or you can draw images. Now, Wordle is really easy to use. All you have to do is click Create. And then, what were some of the words that had to do with Pecos Bill? Well, we could use his name. What's another word that had to do with it? Jacob used the word Western a lot. Yep, very good. Um,
Well, tornado.
Tornado, perfect. We could even use
Bronco,
perfect. Bronco, Texas,
Grand Canyon,
California, perfect. Grand Canyon, oops, Canyon, um, Death Valley, oops. If I could spell today, that would be helpful. Death Valley. Okay, so you can think of all the words that you want. Oh, rodeo would be a good one, huh? Would be pertinent to your story or tall tale. And then you just click go. It takes just a second. It will create a Wordle for you, and then you can choose whatever colors you want to use, which way you want all of the words to go. I don't know why it's taken so long. It never usually does. But let me just show you my example back on the page. Okay, so when you create your Wordle, it'll end up looking, something like this. And then let's just pretend that I drew this picture. I didn't, but whatever. And then you can also just find images. So maybe you want to just go to Google and you would go to search. And let's just search for maybe a picture of the Grand Canyon. So this is super easy. You would just say Grand, there we go, Grand Canyon. Okay, what is going on with my spelling? There we go. Grand Canyon, and you go to images. And here you go. You could choose, this one's cool. All right. So let's just say you want to use this one. That would be cool too. Okay. Oh, Autumn, welcome. I'm sorry that you're a little late. You're probably going to have to watch the recording later on when it's done and I post it, just so you know what we're doing. Okay. So at the bottom of your sequence chart, there's going to be a lot of empty space because it can go on as many pages as you want. You'll write a group summary. This is part that you guys will have to work with each other. You're going to need a topic sentence. You're going to need the details that you wrote about in your chart and a conclusion sentence. It only has to be a paragraph. It's really not a big deal. And then at the bottom of that is where you're going to insert all of your different pictures that you come up with. So that is an overview of assignment number 1. Are there any questions on assignment 1? Is it pretty easy? Yeah, Jacob says it's pretty easy. So Autumn, let me just show you what group you're in, just so you know. And in case anybody's already forgotten. Okay, so Autumn, oh my goodness, how weird is that? Autumn, you're also in the Johnny Appleseed group. So Jordan, you're the oddball, I guess, in the 5th grade. You're in the Rooster and the Pearl group, but that's okay. All right, guys, so we are going to end about 15 minutes early in hopes that I can give you some of this time to start this work, and that I will be, available via email if you have any questions. But it's pretty easy stuff, but I want you to go ahead and get started. You can go to it in your email. You'll be linked to this site. You can start reading whichever one you've been assigned to and get started. Okay. And Jordan, I will share it with you again. I am pretty sure that you're on there, but I'll just make sure. I'll share it with you again. Okay, guys. So it's been a lot of fun. And make sure that you check this out. Let's just make sure Jordan's on here. Yeah, Jordan, you're on here. There you are. Okay, Jacob says wait. He might have another question. Jacob, do you have a question? Where do I find that thing you were on? Okay, well, all of this is on this particular site. It's all linked to the site. So all you need to do is go into your email. I'll show you kind of what it looks like. Let's see here. I'll share it with myself and I'll show you what it looks like in an email. Okay, so this would be kind of funny. Get to share it with the owner, which is pretty funny. All right. Okay. All right. So if you go into your email, you're going to have something from me that looks exactly like this. Okay. So you just click on it. And then, what do you know? All you have to do is click on that site. And there it is. Okay. And then that sequence chart that I was filling out with you earlier, that has been shared with you as well. So you'll have another email from me that says sequence chart, and you'll click on the sequence chart and that'll open up for you. Okay, well, I will share it with you all one more time just to make sure that it is there in your email, but that's pretty strange since I can see your name on the list. But anyway, see, look, like there you are. You're like right there. Jordan, can you see it? Lucas, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Lucas can see it. I don't know. Jordan, I'll share it with you again just to make sure.
Okay.
You are my witness. You see me sharing it right now again. All right, guys. Well, if you have any more problems with that, just let me know, and we'll figure it out somehow. But all right, you guys have a great morning, and I will talk to you on Thursday for math. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Autumn. Autumn, don't leave yet. Autumn, you need to get your job application turned in. Okay. So job application, Autumn, for Young Ameritown, that's page 47 in your workbook. That needs to get done like now. Okay? All right, sounds good. Um, that's it for today, and I will talk to you all later. And Autumn, I will make sure I post this recording so that you can see the first part of what we did today. Okay? All right, bye.